Welcome to new SailfishOS app podcast or SailfishOS podcast. It's all about my Sony Xperia 10 Plus device and the apps I'm running on this device. So all the nice little SailfishOS apps and Android apps. I got a question about which apps I'm actually running on my device. So I will go through the list of all those apps I have installed on my Sony Xperia 10 Plus device. And I want to show you what I have installed here, and not only native applications but also Android applications that run via the Alien Dalvik Android runtime. So let's dig into it and keep starting with the list. Let's start with all the applications I've installed. You can see I have the telephone app, the message app, the browser, the camera app. I don't think I have to show you the browser, the camera app, the contacts, the store, the gallery, the settings, the tutorial, terminal, or weather app, or even the notes, calculator, documents, media, calendar, email app. No, I don't have to tell you about this. Also, I think I don't have to tell you about Storeman, because this is the major app store, one of the major app stores for SailfishOS. Besides the Color Store itself. I have FileCat installed, which is my file manager that I wrote for SailfishOS, and as you can see here I can choose between the Android folder where all the Android files are, downloads where all my downloads are, music files where all my music files are, and so on. So it's a nice little application that allows you to see settings, for example, and properties of files and folders, list them, you can rename them, you can change the permissions if you like to change permissions, and of course you have the option to copy, cut and paste, or select different files and folders and copy different files and folders and paste them somewhere else. File manager, then there's a code reader for reading QR codes. So if I want to read a QR code, of course I have to have a QR code here. It will be very handy for reading QR codes. Then I have a folder called Social Media, where I have several apps. First of all, the Tutor application, which is the Mastodon application, the Mastodon client for SailfishOS. It will load in a second, and will load the Mastodon Toots in this case. And I have the same also social media for Twitter, so Peepmats it's called. And it's one of the best clients for when it comes to reading tweets and answering tweets and so on. So this is for Twitter. And then I have QuickDit, which is a Reddit client for SailfishOS, which allows me to read Reddit stuff, and I can go to subreddits, just like, for example, I want to go to the, let's go to the SailfishOS subreddit, and hit enter. And now I'm in the SailfishOS subreddit, as you can see here. So that's this. Besides that, I have Fahrplan, which is an application for navigation in the public transport. So in this case, I can choose between different public transport companies. Like in this case, it's Bahn.de, because usually I'm in Germany. But you can go to settings and can change this to different countries. As you can see here, it has all the major countries in Europe and even overseas, some countries where it gets data from. But there's another application I use for this, which is an Android application, which I will show you in a second. Then of course I have my web browser WebCat, which is the best, of course, with the new Qt WebKit 5.212 version, which allows you to search and navigate via the web in a pretty good fashion. Then of course there's my video player, LL's video player, which allows you to watch videos on YouTube, for example, download videos on YouTube, download music files on YouTube, play music and video files. This is what I use. Also pretty known, I think. Then when it comes to taking cameras, I'm not using the normal camera app, I'm using the advanced camera app, because it has some more advanced features, just like, for example, better focusing mode. So I'm now in automatic focusing mode, can go to manual and then can choose my focusing point. It will not change the focusing point when I hit the shutter button, which is a nice feature. Also has some other nice additions, just like for example I have different modes here I can choose from, and different effects I can choose from, just like for example if I want to have a negative effect, you can see now everything is appearing in a negative color format. So this is also pretty nice. Also auto white balance I can set here, ISO, and many different other things. I have a video mode as well where I can record videos with, which also pretty much works all the time. This is my favorite application when it comes to taking photos and videos on SailfishOS. Works not only the Xperia 10 Plus but also the Xperia 10, Xperia XA2, 2 Plus, and Xperia X devices. I think even the yellow one still works a bit. Then my favorite application when it comes to podcasting is this application called Gpodder, and this allows you to simply download podcasts and watch for new podcast streams and so on, which is a nice feature here as well. Why Gpodder, some might ask? Because I think it's the most feature-complete podcasting client for SailfishOS. So you have chapter mark support, you have support for podcasts. Just let's dive into the information here, and you can see you have the chapter marks here. You can jump to a specific point, and especially in a longer podcast, and can jump directly to the interesting parts of the podcast. And you have of course support for lists, so playlists. You can add different podcasts to your playlist and then just play them back, which is a nice addition. So what do we have after Gpodder? We have map applications. I have quite a lot of here. Not all of them are really map application, but most of them are. There's, for example, Pure Maps, which is a map application, a native map application using OpenStreetMap, which works together with the OpenStreetMap offline navigation, which is very nice, as you can see here. And it shows the current location in Auckland, New Zealand, where I am right now. And I have, of course, the option to navigate and other things. I think there are videos out there about Pure Maps already, so it's not very interesting. But it's handy to have also some other apps and testing some other apps. Here we go, for example, is an Android application which has some special features. Just for example, it has very good support for transportation, public transportation, so you can easily find your way around, and it uses different map material than OpenStreetMap. Which is also sometimes very handy and has a 3D view of the world as well, as you can see here. And then there are some other applications that I commonly use, OSM and for OpenStreetMap, of course, and Maps.me, which is a new application. And Maps.me is a new application that I discovered, or that I'm using right now. It's basically OSM and a little bit lighter, easier to use, and with a bit of better user interface and faster map application than OSM. And it has some features that are pretty interesting, just like for example you can have the option to rate several restaurants and see ratings of other people that were in the restaurant, for example, or a hotel or something like this. So this is a pretty nice map application. This is why I'm using this as well. And then I have an application called Transporter, public transport all around the world, supported by Transporter. A little bit better than Fahrplan, because Fahrplan you have a limited list of stuff, because this also has a map app built in, and you can see it is locating me here, and I can then search for public transportation in specific, and it will give me the directions where to go, which bus or train to use, and how long it will take, and it can give you even an alarm when you have to get off. Especially in Auckland, in New Zealand, it's very important, as the bus and trains not, but the buses don't show the next stop, so you have to just look out the window or know exactly where you have to get off. Otherwise you can get a bit lost, especially as buses are not stopping at every bus stop. Only if someone wants to get out or wants to get in, it will stop. So this is for public transportation. Then I have Depecher, which is a Telegram client. Don't have to show this to you, I think. And then I have web applications. There I have Yola Together, which is the application that I use for seeing all the Yola forum, Yola Together website entries, and I can chat with people, or I can read stuff, or I can search stuff, which is pretty interesting. There's another application as well, but it's not working anymore. I think it has not been updated. You can get it to work by manually editing some QML file, but yeah, I just stick with Yola Together as I know this application very well. And there's another application called IRC, so sometimes I have to go still on the IRC to chat with people, and yeah, the IRC app is for this. Then some system applications. I have GPS info to get some general GPS information. AIDA64, a pretty good application if you want to get system information about your hardware. Crest is an application that shows all running applications, so you can see here not only Android application, not only native applications, but also Android applications are shown here, and I can also even say, I want the system applications also to be listed here, and then it will list all of those applications. I have even the option to, if I want to kill, terminate or kill an application, I can do this here as well from this application. So pretty nice if something is hanging. Then I have Sysmon. Sysmon is an analyzing application which can analyze battery data, for example, the battery charge, the CPU usage over time, and the RAM usage over time, and CPU sleep over time, which is also a pretty nice and handy application, especially if you have a new device just like the Xperia 10 Plus that I have here. And then there are of course some other applications like IP address, which is what is my IP address, especially if you're on a public Wi-Fi or something like this, or Wi-Fi of a friend or something like this. You want to know your IP address, it's pretty nice. Also Wi-Fi analyzer for analyzing Wi-Fi is very important if you want to choose the right channel for your 2.5 gigahertz Wi-Fi router. And Mimer, of course, my application to setting mime times, Messwerk in general to see if all sensors are working, and a charge monitor just installed because someone was asking me a question about charge monitor, if it's showing me wrong data, and apparently it's not optimized for the Xperia 10 Plus and shows some wrong data sometimes eventually. Then I have some utilities in a utilities folder, and there you can see I have Noto for taking notes and to-dos, Tiny Edit for some text files, BMI calculator if you want to calculate, stay healthy, calculate your body mass index. You can do this here with the BMI calculator. And there's a screen message, sometimes helpful if you want to type in a text, just like, especially on the Xperia 10 Plus, and it will display it in big letters, and especially useful if you want to tell someone something in big letters on your smartphone, which you cannot reach via phone or with a call. I just wanted to show it to some workers outside of the window that are very loud, working on building another skyscraper here. Not sure if you can hear this in the background. Then are some other apps like Sail DB Meter. I can show you then the DB metering. As you can see here, it's workers are working hard. Here you can see it's also a nice living room music, it says, or police whistle. So it's in this kind of categories that can be seen here. Then it's also sometimes handy. There's a paint application, so just like the name says, you can try to paint something and save your masterpiece for later. Also sometimes handy if you want to create just simply a list of stuff that you need to buy or something like this, and can use your finger to do this. And there's Kennzeichen, which is basically the car signs that you can see here. So you can go into settings and then see what kind of stuff you want to have, and you can set, of course, also the name, which is pretty interesting if you want to figure out what car plate, license plate, which number or which letter means something, or which country or state or city it's coming from. There's Search Nemo, which allows you to search inside of text files of SailfishOS files. There's Papocchio, which is also a Paint application, and it has some nice features as well. And you can save canvases and clear canvases, as you can see here, and I can clear the canvas, and I have some other options here as well for painting. This is a nice little painting application, not so crowded. I find it especially useful when comparing to Paint, because it's just for text mostly what I use it for. Then there's a compass, of course. I don't have to explain it to you. I'm not sure if the compass is even working. I think it is not working no, it's not working on the Xperia 10 Plus, so it's just installed because I had it installed on another phone. There's MeCalc, another calculating application. There's Unit Converter, sometimes pretty handy if you have to convert units. If you are on a vacation in the States, for example, and they do use a different unit system, you can use this. But it also has currency conversions, so this might be also interesting. I'm currently in New Zealand and I use a New Zealand dollar, and I can use this to convert the currency. Then there's the recorder, which is simply a basic audio recorder, which allows you to record audio. It has some settings, as you can see here. You can record in different codecs like FLAC, Vorbis, Speaks, or PCM, and you can choose even a sample rate if you want to do some recordings, which is pretty handy. Yeah, next site, fun folder. They have Sail Imager. It's an imager client. Gagbook, which is a 9gag client. Don't want to show you all of the applications, don't want to open all of the applications, but at least Gagbook is a pretty good one. Also updated pretty frequently, so you get the newest stuff from here. And let's go back to fun. There's some other applications. Tuxchar, my own application that I just have here for testing purposes, if it's running or not. Tushbox, which I pretty much also use sometimes when it comes to just playing back some little snippets. So it can, by default, it acts like a Cologne Carnival playback application, just like. Not sure if you could hear it. There's a nice little sound here that you can play back, but you can configure it. You can say soundboards, and you can then create new soundboards if you want to, and you can add your own sounds if you want to have your own sounds. Just for example, funny sounds from The Simpsons, funny sounds from Rick and Morty, funny sounds from different kind of things that you want to play back. You can do this here with this application. Also my application, by the way. Then there is Photofania, which is also interesting if you want to edit some photos sometimes, load all the photos, and you have the option to add some nice effects. So you have here some templates, smoke flare, for example, and yes, you can see here this is how it will look like, and what you can do is just simply replace the face of this, you can see it. Replace the face of this lady, for example, with your own face, and then you can just simply do such collages or edits in photos, which is a pretty nice feature, and I use it sometimes. As well. Then there's Bash Reader if you want to read about very funny comments around the IRC, around the internet. Then you can do this here, and also. Handy sometimes if you want to laugh. Those are all the fun applications. And there's Encode. Encode is an audio and video converter for SailfishOS. I use it sometimes if I have to convert, if I want to extract audio from a video file, for example, or I just simply want to convert a file to a different format, so I can use it on my USB stick and plug it into my TV, which only accepts certain formats. I can do this here pretty easily with my smartphone. By the way, this uses a lot of power, so might be not good to convert everything. It's possible under SailfishOS. Then there are some streaming applications. I have Received, which is a radio streaming application for SailfishOS, a native one. You can add some favorites, add customs. I don't have anything in here because I didn't use it. I can browse through different radio stations, and I can go into top 100, for example, and it will list me the top 100 radio stations, and I can just add my famous radio stations, my favorite radio stations if I like to add them, and you can listen to them, which is also pretty handy. Uses the internet, of course, for this. And yeah, streaming, there are some other applications, just like, for example, there is NewPipe, which is a YouTube streaming application. For some reason, it's an Android application. For some reason, it's also open source. You can get it on F-Droid. For some reason, let me just play a random video here. For some reason on SailfishOS it doesn't work. On the Xperia 10 Plus, I'm not sure why. I found a new application lately. My Huawei smartphone has recommended me a VidMate in the Huawei app gallery, and I didn't know about this, but it's also available, and it's another YouTube streaming application, an Android application, which works apparently. So if I want, and it almost looks like the native YouTube application that you can find on Android without using Google services or Play services. And yeah, I can just click on a video, and this one acts like the YouTube player, and this one even plays back stuff. And as you can see here, I can just have a very similar experience to the YouTube app. So if someone coming from Android wants to have a similar experience when it comes to YouTube app, VidMate is the way to go. And the other thing is Amazon Music. I have some music that I buy via Amazon, so I'm not only streaming, almost never stream music files. I always download or buy stuff that I like, and I'm using Amazon Music for this. Then there's Sailfish Connect for connecting with KDE Connect. It's a KDE Connect client. I can connect to my laptop, for example, and share the clipboard. Can copy links over, can copy files over, and have option over controlling my media player on my laptop and such things. There's Fishnet Mount, also a very handy application if you want to mount different network shares, just like, for example, you can use SMB, CIFS, NFS, SSHFS, and NFS version 4. So you can mount them directly into SailfishOS and then use my file manager, for example, FileCat, to browse the files, copy files over. Nice and easy. Yeah, then there is audio output. Audio output allows you to set various different audio outputs for your SailfishOS. This is just for debugging stuff, and if I want to select a specific output, even if I have headphones plugged in or something like this, and I want to listen to music via speakers, I can do this fancy thing. It's more for debugging purposes. I'm not using it pretty actively. Then there's Photocopierer, which is pretty nice application if you want to scan in documents. Back in the day we used the normal scanners, laser scanners, but nowadays more and more people are using the smartphone cameras, and you have a nice application here which allows you to optimize the photo that you take of a document. And just like, for example, I have an Uber Eats coupon code here, and I scanned it in, and not sure if I can show the original one. The original one has color on, just like let's take. Not sure if I can show you this. No, I don't have it. But this one, white balance there. It turns it into black and white, so the text gets more pronounced, and you can read the text more easily, and looks more like a scanned-in document. So this is a nice addition. Also, what's pretty nice, if you open up the application, you can go into the edit mode, and there you can see the original photo that I took. And this is the thing that you have to do. You can original photo that you took, you can choose the area that you want to use, and then it will also correct eventually in parts some trapeze effect, and yeah, this is then the end result that will come out of this application. A pretty nice application, photocopier. I think I did also a screencast or a video about this. Then there's an eBay application, Markcard eBay client, which allows you to at least see what you bid for, or see the things that you were looking for last time. And here you can see I have on my watch list 2 mini computer things. This is pretty old, but reminds me I have to remove them. And removing them is pretty easy, as you can see here, and they should get removed. You need to have an eBay account, otherwise you cannot search here, cannot use the application. And yeah, you can browse applications here. You can see, let's search for example, let's search for the Yola phone. Even if I did a typo there, it should find it. Eventually someone is selling a Yola phone on eBay, yeah, as you can see here, and it's a good white one. In this case my security token is not valid anymore, I have to re-log in, but in general it works. You get information about the product, and you cannot buy anything from this application, you have to go to the website anyway, but you can see most of the information that might be important. Then there are some language tools, just like for example Tao Translator, which allows you to translate everything to everything. Basically it uses different backends in the background. You can see it uses Google, Microsoft, Yandex for translation, and you can just type in something in here and it will translate it to your language. Just let me type a German word here, and you can see it now uses Google, I think, for translation, and it can recognize the language as well, and you can have then translation here. Pretty nice and handy, especially if you're not in your own country, somewhere else. Then there's LeetSpeak, just my tool, because I have to install all my tools to check if they're still working and if they're still running. It's just a fancy LeetSpeak application, so everything you type in, as you can see here, will be turned into LeetSpeak. Pretty nice and easy, fancy application. There's Dict as well, which is also an option to, it's a dictionary, so you can search for words, just like, let's try again, search for Fußball, which is soccer, as you might have learned. And it then searches, so there's searches, and there you can see it has different translations, German English one, German French one as well, German Dutch one, and German Portuguese one. So if you want to have translation, different types of translations, you can use Dict as well. Or you just want to check back and forth which has a better translation or different translation for a word, for example. Yeah, the languages, and there are AD stores, Alien Dalvik stores, so Android applications. Where do I get my Android applications from? Primarily F-Droid, mostly because there's open source applications. I trust those applications there, and they have pretty nice and good applications there, which I like to use. Also, I upgrade most of the applications from here as well, and yeah, it's a good store that I can fully recommend. Then there's some other alternatives. If I really want something from the Play Store, I have 2 options here, either APK Mirror. Some of you might know it as a website. There's an application, Android application for it as well, which is basically a wrapper around the website, and which allows you to download stuff as well. And yeah, it has almost all the APKs that you can imagine. And then there's Yelp, no, not Yelp, Aurora Store, which is an option to access the Play Store. You have an anonymous login, or you can use your Google account to log into the Play Store, and you can download APKs from the Google Play Store if you really need that. Of course, not all of the Play Store APKs will work without Google Play services, so be aware of this. And here 2 app icons, OSM Scout Server and OSM Scout Server something else, I think Traffic or something. This is basically what I use for the offline navigation within Pure Maps. So if I use, where's my map application? Map. pure maps. It will not use online data when I'm walking around it. You will use the OSM Scout server. Go on OSM Scout server, you can see you have there the option to download different maps, and yeah, you can go into the map and map configuration. Here you can see I have downloaded Australia and Oceania, New Zealand map, and the Europe, Germany, North Westphalia map as well. You can see the sizes, and you can, if you want to, of course, choose different other maps. It will use OpenStreetMap to download stuff as well, and you can download them and then use them with not only pure maps but other applications that are accessing OSM Scout server. Then I have Nextcloud, because Nextcloud is connecting to my Nextcloud. I have a Nextcloud, and yeah, it's connecting to files and folders. Nextcloud, my Nextcloud, and I have some APKs, for example, here put into the APK folder. Lantern installer, for example, here in this case, which is a VPN client. So that's basically it. There's Perfect Piano still, if you like to play a bit of piano. It's also an Android application. Found it has one of the best sounds, and I can go here into keyboard and I can start then playing what I want. So you can play stuff. You have a metronome as well. You can record stuff as well, and you have the option to choose between, if you want, for example, 2 rows of keys, but a bit smaller, accords, or classical one, and you have some other things here as well, just like I want to see C4, D4 printed on the keys, or Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, and so on. And I can choose even the piano type that I want to have, and yeah, I think even use some custom ones if I like to. A nice application, Android application, and I think you can only get it from the Play Store, so use APK Mirror or Aurora Store. Then I have Fennec F-Droid here, which is basically, from the logo you can tell it's a Firefox browser, but the F-Droid version, so with less proprietary stuff, and compiled on the F-Droid store. And yeah, sometimes I'm also using Google Maps in the browser here, and with the F-Droid Fennec browser it works as well. I can locate me, and then I can navigate stuff here with this. And the cool thing is about the Firefox browser, and Fennec in this case, it has this little icon when other applications are available as well for map apps, for example. I click on this and it will search for the application. In this case it only found one application, which is OSM-End, and OSM-End will then see my location. I'm not sure why it's directly switching to OSM-End. Maybe I set OSM-End as default application, map application. But usually you can also get a list of stuff, and for example, if I'm on Reddit, let's go quickly on reddit.com/r/SailfishOS, and yeah, it should pop up as well. And there, if I have a Reddit client installed, but I don't have an Android Reddit client, so probably could be that it is not popping up. And yeah, but I have the option to install it via Aurora Store or F-Droid, the Reddit client, if I like to. I go to Aurora Store, I think it wants me to log in, but in general this works for installing applications. Yeah, that are all applications here running on my Xperia 10 Plus device. I hope you enjoyed this overview, and give it a thumbs up if you like it. If you have some tips and tricks on some other applications that you are using on your Xperia devices, not only Xperia 10, XA2, X, Yala C, Yala 1, whatever, then you can write me a comment down below. And thanks for watching. Until the next time, bye.